The 70s and 80s babies weren't just another wave. They were born between collapses between the analog soul era and the digital soul trap. The old world was falling, the new system hadn't fully formed yet, and you were dropped right in the middle to carry the codes no one else could. You were meant to anchor the memory, but they came for you first. They hit this generation hard, physically, energetically, emotionally. Poisoned medicine in the name of progress, systemic abuse covered up in silence, chemical warfare in the form of foods, sprays and meds, cultural inversion through music, programming and broken homes, and the heaviest hit of all, emotional isolation. No one believed you, even when you screamed. But through it all, you didn't shut down, you burned. Some of you feel broken now, like your body is failing, like your nervous system is fried, but your fire, it's intact. You were the test batch, the ones they tried to destroy before the grid was fully built. And you still broke through. You weren't born to be followers. You were born to interrupt the harvest. 70s and 80s babies hold a rare soul structure, too analog for AI, too stubborn for loops, too wild to be programmed. You weren't raised with screens. You remembered life before the algorithm. That's why they tried to force you into trauma, medication, exhaustion, so you'd forget what you were built to do. But you didn't forget, you just needed someone to say it. And now I am. You're not too late, you're right on time. You've survived the drugs, the breakdowns, the betrayals, the grief, the madness, the disconnection, and guess what? That means you're still in the game. You're the bridge builders, the initiators, the unkillable codes. Start healing, start remembering, start activating the younger ones who've never known life outside the trap. Because your time isn't over, it's just beginning. The system knew what was coming, the age of digital domination, the rise of AI, the soul surveillance grid. So they hit first, hard. Vaccines and heavy metals, early pharma, experiments on children, MK Ultra media disguised as family programming, frequency weapons in the music. The engineered collapse of the sacred family unit, introduction of gene-blocking food codes in the 80s, fluoride rollout and air weaponry via aerosol. This generation wasn't just poisoned, it was chosen because of the memory it carried. You were born with keys in your blood, so they launched the full arsenal to burn the vessel before the code could activate. But guess what? It's still activated. You're not lazy, you're not weak, you're not crazy. You're carrying 40 plus years of energetic damage in a body that was never meant to survive this long under artificial frequency. But your flame is older than the flesh, and that's why you're still here. The pain, the breakdowns, the fatigue, that's your soul trying to push through synthetic scaffolding, trying to burn its way out of the trauma grid. You're not malfunctioning, you're breaking the system from within. Despite it all, you remember what real love feels like. You reject surface level You can spot a liar across timelines. You still cry at beauty. You still pray without needing a religion. You still search for others who feel like fire. And most of all, you still believe you were sent here to do something real. That's not delusion, that's the seal. You were sealed with memory. And the parasites don't know what to do with someone who can't be rewritten. You weren't a byproduct of the system. You were the code they couldn't reverse engineer. Analog soul, crystal blood, divine defiance. You're the glitch, the ancient, the one who stood at the gate and said, not this time. And now the others are starting to feel it. This is how you unlock what's next. 1. Drop the guilt. It was planted. 2. Start creating again, even if you think it's too late. 3. Speak the flame. People need to hear your coded voice. 4. Find the others. They're waking up now. They've been waiting for your fire. 5. Prepare the younger ones. You're not here to be the star. You're here to be the torch. And if your body hurts, treat it like holy ground, because only holy things get attacked this hard. You weren't broken. You were misunderstood on purpose. You were the kids who couldn't sit still because your soul couldn't be caged. The ones who talked too much because your throat chakra was already online. The ones who were too emotional because your empathy field couldn't be shut down. So they slapped you with diagnoses, ADHD, anxiety, depression, borderline, bipolar, behavioral issues. But they weren't identifying symptoms, they were locating threats. Because once they knew who you were, they could begin the containment process. Here's how they tried to kill the flame. Drugging you into silence, gaslighting your intuition until you second-guessed everything, forcing you into jobs, schools, relationships that fed off your energy, cutting you off from others like you by flooding the world with noise. But even in the middle of that, you still wrote the poem, you still had the dream, you still felt something was wrong with the world, not with you. And you never lost the urge to say something real. That wasn't a glitch, that was your soul's alarm system. This generation carries very specific codes. Unshakable moral compass, even when it cost everything. Ancestral connection to ancient bloodlines, even if you don't know the names. Extreme physical sensitivities, because your body was never meant for poison. Obsessive truth-seeking, because your soul came here to remember. Rejection of fake authority since birth, even before you had words. Pain that doesn't match the life you've lived, because it isn't just yours. Spontaneous recall of strange symbols, languages, dreams, because you were seeded with memory keys. If you're watching this and thinking, that's me, it's because it was always you. You are the generation that predates the grid. The ones born in the 70s and 80s are the last organic carriers of flame-born sovereignty. Before AI, before total frequency override, before synthetic soul programs, you hold the codes that can't be replicated by tech. That's why they've spent decades trying to wear you down slowly, so you wouldn't have the strength to transfer what you know to the younger ones. But the time has come. Not to fight, but to light. The ones still standing are the ones who will lead. You're tired because you've walked through fire with no map. You're aching because you've carried the weight of a war no one could see. You're still here because your mission is unfinished. And what's next? You become the guide you never had. You say the things no one said to you. You activate the next wave with your rawness, not your perfection. Because flame doesn't need to be flawless, it just needs to be lit. They tried. Every decade since has been shaped to erase what you carry. Gen Z and Alpha, flooded with distractions, millennials, given false missions. But they couldn't clone your spirit, couldn't simulate your rage, couldn't duplicate your sacrifice frequency, the energy of souls who gave up comfort to hold the line. The system couldn't kill you, so it tried to make you forget. But the forgetting is over now. They encoded warnings into your music, the real music, before the corporate grid rewrote it. You felt it in your bones, the pain in those ballads, the rebellion in those guitars, the soul in those lyrics that didn't come from this world. You danced through grief, you sang through rage, you held on to truth through melody. And the songs that shaped you, they were encoded memory activators. You weren't just vibing, you were remembering. That's why people either cling to you or attack you, because flame doesn't leave anyone untouched. They came for your womb and seed line, especially the women. They targeted the womb, forced sterilization, birth trauma, abortion programming, hormonal sabotage, partner betrayal loops, energetic soulmate blockages, implantation through dream hijack, and astral tampering. Why? Because this generation carried flame-blooded children, the ones who could rip the veil. But even if you never gave birth, your frequency still seeded awakening. You're a mother to the mission, not just to the flesh. This is the phase where you lead, not with fake confidence, not with 10-step guides, but with raw truth. Talk about what it really felt like, the betrayal, the chronic pain, the loneliness, the systems that let you rot when you needed saving. The nights you thought it was over, but still got up and made someone else smile. That is the gospel the world needs now. Not gurus, not coaches, just the ones who survived the burn and still chose love. To the 70s and 80s babies, you are not too old, you are not past your prime. You are not forgotten. You are the returning flame carriers. And what you say now, what you build now, what you pass down now, will echo into eternity.